She had money, beauty, and the kind of pride that made people flinch before they spoke. So when Vanessa Dupree heard slow footsteps behind her in the parking lot of Atlanta's Buckhead Plaza, she didn't ask questions. She reacted. She turned and slapped the man so hard the sound cut through the Georgia heat like a gunshot. The world froze. Shoppers halted mid-step, phones flicked up, conversations died. A father dropped his coffee. A child pointed and whispered, "Mama, what just happened?" Vanessa stood in the middle of the lot, her hands still raised, her deep brown skin glowing under the sun. She looked about 28, perfectly styled long braids down her back, a sharply tailored white pantsuit that hugged her like confidence, gold hoops, a matching gold watch, and a perfume that announced her presence before her voice did. Her name was Vanessa Dupree. Strong, successful, feared. She had built V-Lux Cosmetics from a single vanity brand into a multi-million-dollar empire, not by kindness, but by force. Confidence was currency in her world, and she spent it like the world owed her respect. In front of her now was a man who looked like life had taken too many turns with him. Faded flannel shirt, scuffed boots, a worn veteran's cap, clothes that had seen more storms than sunshine. His shoulders bent slightly. Gray beard, wrinkled skin, a walking cane leaning against his hand. His cheek was red where she had struck him. Vanessa's eyes burned with anger. "How dare you?" she spat. "How dare you walk behind me like that?" The man looked up gently, his voice calm. "Ma'am, I didn't touch you. I was just walking." "Liar," Vanessa shot back. "You were following me, watching me with those dirty eyes." People murmured nearby. A construction worker said, "Lady, he didn't do anything." An older woman nodded. "He was just walking behind you." But Vanessa was too deep inside her pride. She pointed her finger like it was a sword. "Look at you," she said loud enough for everyone to hear. "Look at your clothes, your shoes. Do you even know who I am? Do you know what I'm worth?" The old man's eyes met hers, steady, calm, neither begging nor shameful. But Vanessa didn't see that. A security guard stepped in. "Ma'am, is there a problem?" Vanessa flipped her braids disdainfully. "He harassed me," she declared confidently. "But I handled it." The guard looked at the old man. "Sir, are you okay?" The man only nodded. Vanessa rolled her eyes like even his breathing annoyed her. "Next time, watch where you walk," she hissed, "and keep your dirty eyes to yourself." She stormed off toward her sleek black Escalade. Her driver opened the door like it was a throne. She climbed in, slammed the door, and the car roared away, dust rising behind it as the crowd slowly scattered, still whispering. If this moment made you tense, comment pride. Let's talk about that emotion right now. But the man, the one Vanessa slapped, didn't crumble. He walked to the curb, sat slowly, and stared at the pavement as if something inside him had learned a lesson long ago. A kind woman approached him quietly. "Sir, are you okay?" He nodded, but his voice carried a weight heavier than his frame. "I am used to it." No one knew it yet, not the shoppers, not the security guards, not Vanessa. But the old man she slapped was not who he seemed, and he was about to change her life forever. Across town, behind tall gates in a quiet, wealthy Atlanta suburb, a man sat alone in a glass-walled office, staring at the city like it exhausted him. His name was Adrian Shaw, 34 years old, tall, broad-shouldered, deep brown skin, calm eyes, and a handsome kind of quiet confidence. He was a billionaire. He owned Shawlink Logistics, a tech and supply empire worth billions, operating across the United States. And right now, he was removing his disguise. Bit by bit, he peeled away the old man's skin, the wrinkles, the gray wig, the fake beard, the weathered voice, until the reflection staring back at him was a younger, confident man AJ would recognize as powerful even without money. His assistant knocked lightly. "Sir, are you back?" Adrian nodded. "Any issues?" His eyes hardened for just a moment. "A woman slapped me today," he said softly. The assistant's mouth dropped open. "What? Sir, should we—" "No," Adrian interrupted. "I'm not calling the police." His voice was controlled, calm, but inside, something had tightened. "Bring me the footage," he added. He leaned back, closed his eyes. Behind his eyelids, his father's voice returned like a memory refusing to stay buried. No matter what you become, don't look down on anybody. The world can change in a day. His father had lived by that rule, and died waiting for someone who never came home. Ever. Since then, Adrian vowed he would never allow a woman into his life who loved money more than soul. Hit like if you think character matters more than wealth, especially in relationships. A few days later, Vanessa received a high-end dinner invitation from Adrian himself. She wore silk and diamonds. She practiced her softest voice. Her phone buzzed non-stop as she walked into his mansion, the kind most people only see on magazine covers. They had dinner, they talked, they laughed politely. Then he asked her something that sounded simple but landed deep. "Vanessa, if I lost everything tomorrow, what would you do?" Her eyes flickered, just slightly. "I'd stay," she said smoothly, "because you're not your bank account." Adrian nodded. But he didn't smile. He was testing her. If you're still invested, turn on those notifications. More twists ahead. Weeks passed. Vanessa attended the Shaw Link Gala, posted her engagement plans online, and soaked in praise like perfume. But at the gala, Adrian paused mid-speech and said, "Sometimes we are tested by how we treat the people we think can do nothing for us." A screen lit up behind him. The footage played. The slap. The words. The stunned silence in the plaza. The crowd gasped. Vanessa froze. Adrian walked off the stage without looking back. The world changed. Sponsors backed out, followers unfollowed, media questioned her character. And Vanessa had to do something she'd never done before: face the consequences. Comment below, do you think punishment or growth is harder? Adrian didn't ruin her career, but he endured. He walked away and quietly supported a small nonprofit led by Grace, a teacher he'd once met while disguised, someone who had shared her lunch with him without a second glance. Grace wasn't rich, she was real, and kindness doesn't need a spotlight. Months later, Vanessa found herself at the same nonprofit, volunteering with her mother, Mrs. Dupree. At first, she didn't belong there, but one afternoon, she handed a plate of soup to someone sitting in the corner, a worn man in torn clothes. Her heart pounded. It was the man she slapped. And this time, she didn't flinch. She knelt down softly. "Sir, would you like food?" The old man ate quietly, then said, "God bless you, my daughter." Vanessa's eyes filled with tears. "God bless you," she whispered. And for the first time, something inside her began to change. If this moment moved you, share this with someone who needs a humble reminder. Adrian and Grace began to grow closer, not because of wealth, not flash, not luxury, but a quiet peace Vanessa never understood. One day, Adrian asked Grace, "If I wasn't rich, would you still talk to me?" Grace looked at him gently and said, "If you were the same man you were at that bus stop, I would still talk." Adrian's heart softened. "What if I want a love that's honest?" he asked. Grace's voice was calm. "Then stop testing, start choosing." He chose her, not with pomp, not with drama, but with courage. One evening, Vanessa approached them quietly. "Adrian, Grace," she said, eyes trembling. "I came to apologize, not because I lost anything, but because I treated someone I should have respected like nothing." Adrian nodded once, calm. "I'm glad you're changing," he said. Grace smiled gently. "You don't have to be perfect, just honest," she said. Vanessa walked away not in pride, but in humility. And that was the real win. Because in the end, money can buy comfort, but it cannot buy character. If this story inspired you, subscribe and share. More powerful tales are coming.